Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We are on Unit 9, Session 3 this week. So, Unit 9, Session 3, and we are covering the book of Ruth. This is a short book in the Bible, but it has such an impactful message. And so, I hope you enjoy preparing for it this week as well as teaching it this Sunday. Um, I'm going to just quickly kind of go over the points that the curriculum gives and just kind of go a little bit more in depth on them. In Ruth chapter 1, we see that, or before we even get to the main story, we understand that Naomi and her husband had two sons, and they were both married. And then all of a sudden, or over the course of time, Naomi's husband passes away, and then her two daughter-in-laws lose their husbands. So her sons die, and so there's three widows in this household, and Naomi basically tells them to go their own way and ask that God would bless them with their new husband. One of the women takes her up on it, and so she leaves. But then the other one, Ruth, stays, and so that's where the story really centers around is Naomi and Ruth's faithfulness to her. And so in chapter 1, we really see that love commits. So love commits. And this is honestly, if we look at this in a theological perspective, this is when, like as an individuals, like we have to commit to God. God rolls out he gives salvation to us. He makes it possible for us. But when it comes down to it, it is still us that we have to make the commitment to follow Jesus, to go where he would go, to follow after him, to make him our God. And that's what's so significant about this passage is that Ruth is not just choosing Naomi, she's choosing to follow the God that Naomi worships, right? And that's more important than Naomi herself. The bigger decision that Ruth is making here is a choice to follow God. And so love commits. As believers, we have to commit to God, commit to accepting his gift of salvation and making him the Lord of our lives. Then in chapter 2, we're introduced to Boaz, who comes alongside Ruth and offers protection for her and her family. And this is significant because this is almost, I see this is a picture of what the church is supposed to do. And so love protects, right? Love protects. The church should be a place that loves and protects those that are the most vulnerable in this world. In that day and time, as a widow, your chances for prominence in society or for a long life of happy living was very low. Many widows had to go into prostitution, or they were taken by other men. It was actually quite dangerous for you to be, a widow in that time. But Boaz comes and he offers his protection, and he's instructed all the young men to stay away from her, and so that she can work and provide in peace. And I think that's such a beautiful picture of what the church is supposed to be, right? Like as the church, may we offer hope and protection for those that are vulnerable in this world, right? For those that have been abused, for those that are the orphans, for those that have been through a trauma. I pray that our church and the church as a whole, the church universal, would be people that provide protection for those that are the most vulnerable amongst us. And then finally, we see at the end of the book, we see that Boaz redeems Ruth. And of course, redemption, that's a big theological word. And obviously, that takes our eyes directly to the cross. But what he did in this moment was he bought her. He bought her, and she was, and he took care of her, right? And so in those terms, we hear the word he bought Ruth, and that doesn't necessarily sound good, but actually this was salvation for Ruth. When Boaz bought her, and wanted to make her um, his wife, he was providing protection for her. He was providing a home for her. He was providing everything that Boaz had was now Ruth's, right? And this is a beautiful picture to what Jesus does for us on the cross. How he has bought us back, from the sin debt that we owed, right? Everything that we used to owe, we owe no longer because Jesus paid that price for us. He bought us so that we can now enjoy, um, the benefits of being bought by the Son of God. So I hope that helps you guys this week as you prepare. As always, let me know if you have questions, and we'll see you on Sunday.